Hey, what is up, Edison enjoyers? This is Jordan from Lexington YGO. You may know me as Apropos in the Discord, or most likely, you don't know who I am at all. I play Edison and Retro Yu-Gi-Oh! With a group of guys in Lexington, Kentucky. We recently took a trip up to Indianapolis to play in last weekend's Ultimate Time Wizard tournament held at the recent YCS. It was a huge event with 198 players playing in this side event. The event was ran very smoothly. The only issue I had with this tournament was that there was no timer displayed for the Ultimate Time Wizard players anywhere. This resulted in a lot of players going into time, losing in time, or worse, a lot of players ended up with draws. A lot of the top 8 players ended with at least one draw. Now, I'm not here to complain and nitpick small grievances I have with the tournament because overall I did very much enjoy this tournament. It was an awesome event. I got to meet a lot of cool players. Shout out Rob the Man. Shout out Edison Club. You guys are all awesome. Dom. I had a great time meeting all you guys. And really, what I wanted to do for the community is make a video compiling all 8 topping deck lists. I personally love videos like this after big events, and these duelists fought very hard to earn this accomplishment, and I want to make sure that each one of these duelists received their flowers. Before we jump in, take a moment to blast that like button and subscribe for more retro Yu-Gi-Oh content. Starting off our top 8 decklist countdown, tied for 5th place, we have Steven's Machina Turbo Control decklist. He's coming hot off of a top 8 finish in YCS Raleigh with Vayu Turbo. He switched it up. He's doing it again, but this time he's doing it with Machina. Very similar strategies, very similar deck list. He is playing 3 Legacy Yatagarasu, just like he did in the Vayu Turbo list. He's playing the 3 Hamster 1 charge. He's ending the debate. He doesn't want to argue over Hamster versus charge. He's playing all of it. He's playing no Compulse, and he's playing a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast to ditch the Fortress, activate Force, and get it back. He only plays 1 because if you activate it more than once, you're getting less value. You really get maximum value off of having 1 Fortress in Graveyard to make all your Machina Forces live for the rest of the game. Notably, he's playing 2 Pot of Avarice, not 3. He doesn't want to break on it. He found that was breaking with the Machina Force in his hand, so he cut it down to 2. I think that's a great ratio, and I can't wait to try this list out. Notably, there's no compulsory evacuation device in the main board or sideboard. Most of these Machina duelists are playing the Compulse, reuse their gear frames, save their Fortress, and it's really good into the Vayu Turbo matchup, but he elected not to do it. He said, I'm just going to draw my cards, it's going to be good enough. In the sideboard, he has a lot of staples, and then notably, he has these zombie worlds, very scary for anyone who wants to tribute, or anyone who's trying to counter his strategy with the Cyber Dragon Chimera Tech combo. Congratulations to Steven on his top 8 finish. If you want to catch the full deck profile, you can catch him on Eric Shin's channel Sack Phase on YouTube. Next we have Rick Novak's Diva Hero Beat deck. Rick is no stranger to doing well at this Ultimate Time Wizard tournament at YCS Indy. Last year at the same tournament in 2023, he was a finalist, only losing to Oscar Zelaya. This year, he's trying to run it back. He's trying to get the dub here in 2024. Unfortunately, he was snuffed out short in 5th place. He's playing a very solid monster lineup, streamlined, nothing extra. There's no DD Warrior Lady, no Neospacian Grandmal, just the cards you need to play well. He's playing the 2 E-Call for consistency. He's playing triple Upstart. The idea here is this deck wins when you have all your pieces working in concert with each other. When you have your Alias with your Gem Spark, with a Hero Blast, with 1 Water, with 1 Miracle, maybe 1 Trap to back it up, that is when this deck is at its strongest. The hands that are weaker are when you draw too much of one thing, like too much traps and nothing else to back it up. So these upstarts, he's opting not to play these extra cards that don't do anything to progress your strategy. He's trying to get these combo pieces sooner than his opponent, and it carried him very well throughout the tournament. Next in his sideboard, he has a lot of the standard fare. Your Fossil Dino, your Cyber Dragon, your Pulling the Rug, your Dust Tornado, your Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. But he's also playing this Kaiku, the singleton copy of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. This is a Flavor of the Month card that has been very strong in the meta lately. This card, when dropped at the right time, you have to babysit this card just a little bit, but if you drop it right at the perfect moment, you can just absolutely end somebody's tournament run. If you're playing against frogs, they might have a duplock. You might not be able to out the duplock with this thing, but as soon as you clear it out and you can get a free swing in, you can back this up with a trap. You banish both Treeborns, they can't miracle over top of you, and you're just sitting with protection so they can't crush or Stratos run over it with Alias. It's so crippling, so backbreaking. Very wise inclusion to bring it in this tournament, especially with all the frog hero that was being played. Neospatian Grand Mole is another interesting tech. It's very common, but it's very important in this strategy. Amaryllis is one of your worst matchups, is picking up steam. You don't want to lose because they resolved a Titania with a plant. This Neospatian Grand Mole, alongside these divas making these two catasters, is going to go a long way to make this a winnable matchup for you. Rick Novak is a very strong duelist, and if you want to catch his full deck profile and get all of his thoughts, check him out on the HT19 Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Here is a deck that I am so excited to share with y'all today. This is my good friend Trevor Smith, or Bulk Goblin's, top 8 5th place Hero Frog deck. This is a deck that we've been working on together since February. It's based on my top 8 Hero Frog deck at the Ultimate Time Wizard Championship at 2023 Nationals. Trevor has been working so hard. He's been doing replay review, grinding Warley, grinding ladder. He's been doing all the right things, all the things that you need to do to top one of these premier events. He's been doing them, and it's so awesome to see his hard work pay off. Now, if you dive into the deck itself, you'll notice that he's not playing Infernal Prodigy. He's playing these Malicious. The reason he's playing Malicious is because it allows you to extend your 1-for-1 combo. It allows you to extend your substitute combo. So if you have like a Treeborn and a Malicious Engrave, then you summon Substitute. Suddenly you have a double dupe Substitute line. You have double dupe Unifrog. You have a lot more options with that extender on the Malicious. The extension is something that the Prodigy just cannot do. Also, these discard traps are facilitated by the Malicious. So you have the Malicious and the Treeborn giving you pretty good discard, high value discards for these discard traps. These discard traps are also going to pave the way for an extended Monarch lineup. You had the triple Rise of triple Caius, being able to clear out back row with these discard traps and then just launch these painful, destructive Monarchs is going to pay off dividends, and it paid off for Trevor today. He's on 1 Junk Synchron. He's on 3 Swap, 2 Treeborn. The idea here is he's just trying to optimize his ability to get into the Treeborn Frog ASAP. Moving on to the sideboard, he's on the DD Assailant, triple Vanity Fiend, double Exterm. The Exterm is insane. Into the overall metagame, people are pulling the rug in their sideboard. Now, if they open rug against frogs, they're likely going to set that first. That's going to be the first thing they set so that they can catch a swap frog or a Stratos. So if you Exterm on turn 1 and you hit the rug because they opened it, if you open Exterm and they open rug, then that means your extended Monarch lineup can play freely into their back row with no fear of rug for the rest of the game. In addition, you play this extended discard trap count, Unifrog, Heavy, MST. So the face-up back row, like Black Whirlwind, Zombie World, you have other outs for those cards. You don't necessarily need these to be Dust Tornadoes. And these also permanently out a card, so once you hit like an Icarus, you know you don't have to play around the Icarus for the rest of the game. That knowledge is extremely useful. He's on the double Soul Exchange, double Karma Cut, and Trap Dust Shoot. He also has these triple Spell Cancelers. The idea here is these other sideboard cards were good enough to get him there in most of his matchups, and he had extra sideboard space. So he was able to side something just for a matchup he just does not want to deal with, and he just decided, hey, I have side for everything. Everything's covered with these other 12 cards. I'm going to put Spell Canceller in, and if I run into Dragon Turbo, they will not have fun. So anyway, this is his first top. Congratulations, Trevor. You earned it, man. Rounding out our 5th place finishers, we have AJT BLS on his Blackwing strategy. If you don't know, AJT BLS is one of the most decorated players in the GOAT world. He has a 1st place finish in the GOAT Format Championship 2022. He has 2 1st place finishes in the in-person GOAT Grand Prix. He has 3 first place finishes in format library championships, and a host of premier event tops in GOAT format. However, AJT BLS recently picked up Edison, and this is his first premier Edison top. AJT BLS is known for being a master pilot of the GOAT format's best deck, Chaos Turbo. Many Edison players will tell you Black Wings is the best deck in Edison format. So it isn't surprising to me that a player of AJT BLS's stature would settle for anything less than the best. AJT BLS is playing a very stable Blackwing monster lineup. He's on the staple spells, no mind control, no solidarity, just good, solid monsters, good, solid spells. The spice in his list is all in the traps. He's playing 2 Legacy of Yatagarasu. This ratio can vary from 0 to 3. He's on the 2. Very solid card. But really, the Torrential Tribute does it for me. This is a card that is unusual in Blackwings. So many players do not respect Gores. They don't respect the Torrential Tribute when dueling a Blackwing player, and they will play right into them for devastating effect. Speaking of conventional mainboard cards, the elephant in the room is this deck devastation virus. This was popularized by a true hero in his Diva Hero deck. Since then, players have played it in Vayu, they played it in Blackwing Hybrid, and now we have AJT BLS playing it in pure Blackwing. Deck Devastation Virus is a card that is stronger game 1 than it is post-board. Take Bulk Goblin's Hero Frog list, for example. He's siding around Deck Devastation Virus as much as possible, taking out the cards that get hit, bringing in cards that don't get hit, just to mitigate its effect in game 2 or 3. How do you get the jump on these heads-up players? You mainboard the Deck Devastation Virus. The sideboard AJT BLS opted for is pretty standard. I really like the 1 Nobleman of Crossout. The second knock is dead after you hit the first Raikou. Starlight Road is an excellent inclusion. Is excellent into Blackwing for Icarus attack. It's great against Lightsworn, catching the Celestias and the Judgment Dragons. And it's so good against the ever-growing Gladiator Beast populations, Geyseris. Congratulations to AJT BLS on your top. I expect this duelist to claim many more tops moving forward. And if you want to see his full deck list, you can catch it on the Sack Phase YouTube channel. If you want some top-level GOAT format content, check out the AJT BLS channel as well. Moving up to our 4th place finisher, we have Paul Hobbs on his Gladiator Beast deck. You may know Paul as Ma on the Discord, and he is an absolute demon with this deck, and a demon. I've played Paul at locals, and he is so smart and so methodical with this deck. He believes this to be the best deck, and he's out here trying to prove it to the world. Paul is on 1 copy of Elemental Hero Prisma. He's on a very normal summon heavy build. He does not need to be breaking on Prismas. Multiple Prismas in hand, it doesn't really do a ton unless you have the Test Tigers to back it up. So I think this is a great ratio for him in this particular build. He's over here on 2 Ready Ari. Paul said he was expecting minimal Blackwing and minimal Hero Beat, and expected a ton of Frogs and a ton of Dragon Turbo. And he wanted to keep these powerful decks off of their setup. That meta call paid off for him, because he ran into so many Hero Frogs, and he only ran into 1 Blackwing player in Swiss. He is on the 2 Sandmites to go with his Rescue Cat. He's on Secutor. A lot of Gladiator Beast players do not play Secutor, or they side the Secutor, but Paul made this read, this meta call, that nobody was going to be playing these decks that block these attacks. They're going to be playing these decks that leave themselves open to direct damage, and the Secutor applies immense pressure to these decks. They have to out it. You put a back row, like a D-Prison or a Mirror Force behind that Secutor that's activated, and these decks cannot deal. And then you're just going to start plussing, and when you start plussing with this Gladiator Beast deck, your opponent is in dire straits. They will not win. They will not beat you. Next up, he's playing a Gores. This is a very unconventional card in the Gladiator Beast strategy. Gores is excellent in in-game situations after your opponent traded 1 for 1 for all your cards, got you down to low resources. They think that they're winning because you're in a low resource game state against lads. Then you drop this bomb on them. You just drop the bomb, the Gores, the token. They can't out it. They used up all their resources keeping you off from playing the game, and then you drop the Gores. That is tournament ending for your opponent, my friend. He's playing a Singin. The idea behind the Singin, he wants more access to Cat, more access to the Spirit Reaper, more access to Test Tiger. Makes a lot of sense. People aren't. If you can set it, you can set it with very minimal fear. People are not going to be attacking into a probably Hoplimus. Next up, we have Spirit Reaper. Again, a lot of these decks that he was expecting are going to leave their board open. Like Hero Frogs, they don't want to summon Swap Frog, send Treeborn against Glads, because all that's going to do is result in you getting directly attacked by a Rediari, or not Rediari, anything but a Rediari, I'm sorry, Sam Knight, and then you take 1600. They tag out for Rediari. Now you lost your Treeborn. Now you're in a worse position than you were before. So a lot of Frog players will hold their Swap Frog until they can do something with it. That's where Spirit Reaper comes in. You just drop the Reaper on the empty board. You take a card out of their hand. Suddenly, you're just up on cards for free. Additionally, in the other matchups, if you fall behind on the summon, you lose tempo, you can set the Spirit Reaper and buy yourself some turns to get back in the game. Very heads-up inclusion. Great deck building from Paul here. He's on the Triple Book of Moon. He's on Call of the Haunted, Compulse, Double D Prison, Triple Dust Tornado, 2 Gladiator Beast War Chariot in the main, the third one in the side, Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment, Starlight Roads, Trap Dust Shoot. In the side, he's got 1 copy of Cyber Dragon, 3 DD Crow, the Hoplimus, the Hedgeguard, Double Ancient Forest, My Body as a Shield, the third Chariot, Torrential Tribute, Trap Hole, Trap Stun, and Waboku. Down in his extra, he kind of goofed around a little bit and put some of these Joey Wheeler cards alongside some of these really powerful cards. He has the Stardust Dragons for Starlight Road. He's got Geyseris, obviously Heraclinos. He's got Reaper on the Nightmare, kind of a neat little tech with the Prisma. He can technically send the Spirit Reaper to grave for like a Call of the Haunted combo. He can, with a Sandwich, also activate Prisma, send the Sangan for a Call of the Haunted combo. So I'm not sure if that came up for him, but he has access to that if he needs it. And he doesn't play any tuners. He has no way to steal a tuner. So he did not need a bunch of synchros. So this extra deck is fine by me. This is Paul's first Premier Edison Top, and he did it with the deck everyone loves to hate. This deck is real, and duelists will need to respect it moving forward if they want to do well in these big Edison format tournaments. If you want to see Paul's full deck profile, check it out on Oscar Zalea's channel at Legacy Retro Formats on YouTube. Coming in at third place, we have my friend Dimitri's Hero Frog deck. If somehow you don't know who Dimitri is, he is a highly decorated Edison format player. He is a 2023 RBET Rulers Champion. He is the only player who topped both RBET Rulers events and is now one of the 4 players alongside Beast Mode, Rawnock, and Raikoko 7 to have major top 8 finishes in all 3 years of the modern Edison Renaissance, 2022 through 2024. His Hero Frog list is based off the list that Trevor and I have been playing, but he noticed that we were lacking in ways to capitalize on the malicious outside of Substitute and a Monarch before the Treeborn Frog becomes live. So he made room for 2 Light and Darkness Dragons to solve for this and 2 enemy controllers by trimming unnecessary hero cards like Neos Alias and Malicious Edge, and he shaved off redundant cards like the 3rd Ryza and the 2nd Treeborn Frog. Some differences in the side are he plays the Alias in the sideboard over the 2nd DD Assailant. That's mostly, if not exclusively, for Gladiator Beasts. He plays Deck Devastation Virus because it's absolutely broken, and it combos with some of these darks that he's bringing in, especially post-side, with his Light and Darkness Dragons, his Vanity Fiends, his Caiuses, Junk Synchros, Gores. And rarely, in a niche situation, you could even soul exchange away someone's Armed Wing for your own Deck Devastation Virus. I'm not sure if that came up, but it's very interesting to think about. And of course, he plays the 2nd Treeborn Frog in the side. That's going to come in every single game, just to play around the crows and the graveyard removal. And he plays the Hino Kagesuchi. And this came up and paid dividends in his round 8 match to secure his first place after Swiss finish. If you want the full deck profile, you can actually find it right here on this channel, LexYGO. Ladies and gentlemen, our first finalist is YCS champion Oscar Zelaya. Oscar won YCS Indy's Ultimate Time Wizard tournament last year with Hero Frogs. This year, Oscar's running it back. He made it all the way back to the finals to defend his title with this Value Turbo deck you see in front of you. Now, when you look at this list, at first glance, you might say, this looks like a Value Turbo list. This is a very standard Value Turbo list. But think again. Oscar's on this 3-hamster, 1-charger Light Brigade technology that we saw in Steven's Machina list. But even crazier than that, take a look. There's no brain control in this list. There's no Caius. He's on 3 upstarts. He's playing this really low to the ground strategy with the Value Turbo deck, just trying to draw his power cards. Dark Arm Dragon, Return from the Different Dimension, Burial. He's trying to win with these cards, picking apart back row with extremely consistent access to Raikou. He's playing double oppression. He just says, I don't care about playing in the mirror. I just want to keep my opponent from playing cards. He's playing double oppression in the main. Now his sideboard strategy, that's where it's pretty consistent and very standard, but there's nothing wrong with standard. This is a very solid sideboard. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing we really need to cover in depth on the sideboard, but this is a very crazy take on Value Turbo. I've never seen a Value Turbo player opt into a strategy like this. I got a chance to meet Oscar at the tournament. He's a really cool guy and has the best, literally, he has the best Edison channel for in-person competitive locals coverage. You got to check it out. And you can also, while you're there, catch his deck profile. The channel's called Legacy Retro Formats. And now, your 2024 YCS Indianapolis Ultimate Time Wizard Champion, Frazier Smith. Frazier took it all down piloting his iconic and reliable Hero Frog deck. If you don't know who Frazier is, literally, how did you even find this YouTube video? He is the best competitive Edison and retro Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber. He has a large event tops like Deck Devastators 4 and the Ultimate Time Wizard Championship at the NAWCQ 2023. He is a YCS champion, and now Frazier is an Ultimate Time Wizard champion. Frazier has been refining and upgrading his list ever since the NAWCQ, and I must admit, this list is substantially upgraded from that 2023 list. He is down to 1 Battle Fader from 3. As a prominent figure in the Edison community, people crowd around and watch his games. So dropping the occasional single Battle Fader forces all of his opponents for the whole day to respect it. Moving on to his other techs, he is also on this patented Future Fusion Dandelion technology. Listen, if you net deck Frazier, for the love of God, do not swing your Future Fusion summon into a D prison. Unless you're playing against me for prizing, then do it all day. But you don't want to be doing that. Frazier put the Future Fusion in his deck, not intending on it blocking his Treeborn. So he's going to force you to destroy that monster. Clear the Future Fusion, and now he's live to play the Treeborn Frog for the rest of the game. Don't make that mistake. Frazier's also on his patented hero package, his Alias Stratos Ocean Malicious Edge Prodigy Ecall Roto package. He's playing 1 Econ, 1 Soul Exchange in the main. Going second, opening that Soul Exchange is beautiful. You can steal going first if you have the Soul Exchange Substitute combo. You essentially take their guy, build your board, set up your graveyard, and now you went first. He's also playing an extended trap lineup from his Nats list. He's playing Mirror Force, 3 Regeki Break, the Trap Dust Shoot, and now he's moved the Torrential Tribute from his sideboard into his main board. This is a card that we discussed at length. Bulk Goblin, Dimitri, and I, we were citing this card, and we were looking at it, and we were like, man, we're citing this in against everything, so should we main it? And if you're not maining it, why are you citing it? It's good. It's a main board power card, so if you don't put it in your main board, there's no reason to cite it. It doesn't get substantially better post board. It's just a powerful card. In his side is substantially different from the Bulk Goblin and Dimitri list, he's citing the Breaker, the Dark Dust Spirit. The Dark Dust Spirit is critical if you're expecting to run into Amaryllis. You don't want to automatically lose to a Resolved Titanium with negates, so the Dark Dust Spirit just clears that whole board away. Now, with the Dark Dust Spirit and Junk Synchron and your triple Miracle Fusion, you have a lot more ways to deal with the Titanium. He's only on 2 Vanities Feigns. He's on 1 Soul Exchange, the 2nd Soul Exchange in the sideboard. He's on 1 Super Poly. Hero Beat has fallen out of the meta. It's way less favored as opposed to last year. And the Gemini deck is completely extinct. Something happened, a meteorite hit Gemini World, and there are no more Gemini players left. So the Super Poly's value has gone down, so he's decreased it down to 1. It's still a very powerful card, but you don't need to be playing 2. There's other cards you can be playing. He's on D-Prison, Triple Dust. The Triple Dust is becoming a standard in these Hero Frog sideboard lists, and he's on the 1 Karma Cut. Now, if you want Fraser's full deck profile and all his thoughts on this tournament, catch him at his YouTube channel, at I Am Nerd Podcast on YouTube. And while you're there, subscribe. What are you doing if you're not subscribed to Fraser? Subscribe to his channel, sign up for his Patreon, absorb all the info you can, and maybe you too can become an Ultimate Time Wizard champion. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. All the YouTube channels we shouted out with all these deck lists and all these deck profiles will be in the description below. If you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe for more Edison content. Speaking of content, we were thinking about doing a deck building and sideboard building retrospective on how we built the Bulk Goblin list. If that is something you want to see, drop a comment below. If that's something you don't want to see, drop a comment below. Anyways, I gotta go now because I'm going to be king of the pirates.